An automated repricer is designed to take the task of repricing completely off of your back. You don't have that weight anymore. I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say manually repricing just isn't it. Being there all the time, changing your prices over and over and over and over and over again to be somewhat competitive on that listing, especially since 9.5 times out of 10 you are going to be up against people that have an automated repricing tool. You are just forever there changing your min and max prices to just try and be competitive, to try and win that buy box, but it is exhausting. And at what point can you truly clock off? That is when an automated repricer like Profit Protector Pro steps in, and obviously you set your min and max prices in here, you set your strategy, and all is good. But sometimes we still have to come in here and make various changes to the min and max pricing just to be sure that the parameters that Profit Protector Pro is working with are going to help keep our strategy, working at its very best to help us win that buy box, make sales and so forth. Stuff naturally shifts on listings, and so if it goes outside of the range that you've set, Profit Protector Pro isn't going to be able to do very much repricing whatsoever because it's not in that range that you've set anymore. Now, I'm going to show you something to help you make the repricer work for you. And this is in the automations. If you haven't yet looked at automations, please check out all of the videos I've done on automations. There's so many good things that we can do in this, like the possibilities are pretty much endless. And this is going to help us make the repricer work for us that bit more. Now, we are going to remove the task of coming back in and manually adjusting our minimum price, because often that tends to be the one that we adjust more than the max price, just because people will come on with a new low price or something like that, and then it sort of shifts everything a bit. And obviously, once the buy box is within our pricing range, Profit Protector Pro can go in there and scoop that up and bump that price back up. But we need to have the slightly lower price in our range in order for it to be able to do that. And obviously, we don't want to go too low whereby we're selling for break even or for a loss. No, that's silly. But if we can afford to potentially move our minimum price down by an extra pound or an extra dollar, an extra euro, something like that, then, let's do that. And Profit Protector Pro will do what it does best, scoop that price, bump it back up, and it will absolutely crush price tankers. So the way that we're going to do this is by choosing if buy box goes below minimum. And what we want to do here specifically is use decrease minimum price by. Okay, now the automations will kick in if and only if this certain scenario comes into play. So if the buy box goes below minimum, what would it do without an automation? Profit Protector Pro would just sit at your minimum. It's never ever going to reprice outside of your set min and max prices. That's the security of Profit Protector Pro. You are not putting anything at risk. You set your parameters, it sticks to it. However, by choosing decrease minimum price by, we can have it automatically move our minimum price up or down depending on what we've chosen as that option by whatever it is that we've set. So if we have a group of listings where we've set our minimum price at whatever it is, and we know that even if we move that minimum price down by like a pound or a euro or whatever, we'd still be happy with that. That's fine. We can afford to do that. Let's enter that in. We can also do that by percentage as well, like if it's by 10% or whatever it is, 5%, whatever percentage you would feel is best, you can do that too. So you got currency or percentage there. So in this case, I might do 10%, whatever it is, decreasing our minimum price by whatever makes us happy and whatever fits, the listings that we have in mind. If you're doing an automation for everything, you got to do a sort of one size fits all sort of thing. So you might want to reduce it by like 10p, 10 cents, something like that. But I would advise maybe making a few different automations to apply to different groups of items maybe. So that way when it moves the minimum price down, if this scenario comes true, it's a bit more tailored to those groups of listings. So it's a bit more effective. So that's as simple as it needs to be. You can add other conditions and so forth. Obviously, remember that it will follow these scenarios in sort of priority order. So this is the priority, that's the second priority, and so forth. That's how it will follow this. It's as easy as that. You could cover yourself both ends by if buy box goes above maximum, you don't want to be missing out on that. If it goes above maximum, yeah, we want to move our max price. We want to make sales at that higher price. So if buy box goes above maximum, I would say that it's not really worth using go to or match or whatever, because obviously things are out of our range. So we want to increase our range. So increase max price by, whatever it is. We don't want to go too high with this. Same thing. Same thinking that we have with setting a max price in the first instance still applies. We can't go too high. If we reprice way too high, Amazon will come at us. They might suppress the buy box. So you might want to do something like that. Save. So moving min max. So save. There we go. We've created that automation. You can copy that, by the way. There's nothing I've done here that wouldn't work for you. You can copy this, obviously change the numbers to something that suits you a bit better, but you can cover yourself very nicely with something like this. So we don't have to come in and change our min price, our max price. We can set something like this and Profit Protector Pro will do it for us. And the beauty of it is, it's not the case of it changes it and then we have to change it back to what it originally was if things shift again. No, if the buy box then moves back up above our minimum, say in the instance of the automation that we've just made, the minimum price will just revert back to what it was originally, what you've actually set in the repricing page. It doesn't actually, when you come to repricing page, you won't see that, it's changed the minimum and it's put it down £1 or $1 or whatever. It will just say automation active, so you know that the automation is applied. So you won't see any change here. It will just do it behind the scenes. It does it in the background, so it automatically has that minimum at whatever it might be, whatever it is that you've set. And when the automation is no longer active, when you don't see the active status, the minimum price that it's abiding by will be what you've set in here. So this won't physically change, it just does it in the background. So it means that you don't have to come back in and do that extra work of changing it back. It doesn't move things around. It just does it in the background and snaps back when the scenario is no longer true. So feel free to copy that automation. Thank you for watching.